Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here for the second race of the night here at Motive for the GT4 Championship, live from Fuji Speedway. And this is obviously race 11 of this 45 race season. It's the only race of tonight where we'll be having a qualifying session instead of a practice. The first race of the night is a reverse grid based on the championship standings, and the final race, the third race, is a reverse grid based on the results from this race. But for this one, we have a qualifying session which will set the grid to determine where we're all going to be in terms of our grid slots. But it'll be a standing start as well, so there'll be no formation up, there'll be no sort of slow run up to the line. It will be literally lights out and away we go. And it'll be a test of reaction times, and also a test of who can minimise and manage the wheel spin off the line to the most what's the word, efficient level. But anyway, Ian, welcome back, mate. Obviously we had it was a bit of an exciting start to the first race, but maybe not the best in terms of action. We've certainly had some better races over the course of this season. Hopefully normal service resumed here for the second one.
Well, the qualifying will definitely mix things up, because we know that certain drivers could be faster during qualifying and not as fast during the race. Then it could be the opposite way around. So yeah, I have a feeling we're probably in for a little bit more of an exciting race here for race 2.
Absolutely, and also we'll be able to see whether or not Mike and Cobb can do a bit better when they get a qualifying session to determine their grid position. Obviously, both of them a little bit on the back foot in that first race. We saw them really struggling. They made a quite quick progress at the start, but then once the first couple of laps had gone by, they just seemed to stand still. So it'd be interesting to see what those guys can do here in this second race of the night, as Cobb there does the lap time, which is good enough for P3, but 1.6 seconds off of John Boy's fastest time at the moment. But John Boy looking sizzlingly quick here out on track tonight in the 145s. He's currently over a second quicker than anybody else out on track at the moment, and he's a tenth of a second up on his personal best at the moment going through the first sector. So still time in the bag here for John Boy. Whether he can extract much more from it, we'll have to see. But yeah, he seems to be on it here tonight. What about Mike? What can he do? This will be his only run here for Mike, because he's not going to cross the line in time to another lap here. So this is going to be Mike's only run of this qualifying session. What can he put on the board here? A 4-time champion of the Clio Cup and 3-time champion of the touring cars. Over the line he comes. It's P2 for Mike. Yeah.
But it's still 1.1 off the back of him.
The BMW just does not seem to like this track at all, does it, Ian?
No, it really doesn't. Which is quite a weird one, because we all know that the Toyota doesn't really have the greatest of power on the grid, but it still seems to overshadow the BMW right now.
Definitely does. But John Boy coming over the line and obviously can't, well, stays P1 obviously because he's already in P1, but he can't improve on his lap time there, so he stays where he is. But Mike there's done for the session. Doris Steer up towards the line. He's currently P3 on this qualifying leaderboard. Can he find a bit more time, get himself on the front row maybe? As up towards the line he comes. What is it going to be? Doris Steer stays in P3 for now. No changes there. Craig coming up towards the line as well, as Cobb goes into second place. So he pushes Mike down one place. Craig over the line. What can he do as he crosses over now? And he goes into second place.
Oh.
Part Pooper was the closest man in terms of outright pace to John Boy in the first race, and obviously the race winner, let's not forget, in the first race as well. What can he do here in this qualifying session as he comes up towards the line? Part Pooper crosses over now. What was it? Didn't show up. The timing ball panned away too quickly. Part Pooper only P8, so he's a little way off. But John Boy, pole position for this second race of the night. Craig alongside him on the front row. We've got Cobb and Mike on the second row there, with Doris Steer and Ozzy Albie 5th and 6th, followed by Potter Brown and Part Hooper behind them. Nick Levitter and Big Blue completing the top 10, and it will be M. Afford and Smokey Devil rounding out the grid for this second race of the night. As here we are then, getting ready to go. It'll be a standing start, straight into the race, no messing about, no time for us to prepare ourselves. It will be literally lights out and we will be racing. Totally Zero says, invite please, this 1 cent expired. Damn it, I missed your message. We'll get you in for the last race, mate. We'll get you in for the last one. Senator says, good luck everyone, with a racing car emoji. Oh, Big Blue's disconnected. Oh no. That leaves us with 11 cars here for this second race of the night.
Well, he really needs to pull the cat out of the bag for the first race of the night then, when we're trying to get that one underway.
Yeah, but the thing is, obviously, with the drop rounds, this will probably end up being his drop round, or one of them.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to score many points tonight, is he now?
Nope.
So it'll be a bit of a wasted opportunity here, but nonetheless, we're lining up on the grid. We should be moments away from the start. We'll be locked in and ready to go once all the drivers have clicked ready and done their setups. No strategy involved, obviously, because there's no pit stops here on Project Cars 2 for the Motive Racing Leagues. But here we are then. You can hear the engine revs starting to rise as we sync up. You can see the empty grid spot there, which would have been for P10. Here we are. It's lights out and away we go. And somebody's not moved. Wow, that was a very slow start there from Aussie. But John Boy seems to have got away okay. And not the best though, as Mike has moved ahead of him. And so has Craig as well. So John Boy dropping down a few places here. Mike on the inside. Backs out of it into turn one. Craig there leads us through. John Boy trying to keep it around the outside. But Craig leads us as John Boy now getting pushed out a little bit wide. Cobb trying to thread the needle here between John Boy and Mike. As down towards turn two we go. But it's Craig with a clear lead. John Boy on the inside of Cobb. Holds on for P2. You've got Mike there in fourth ahead of Park Pooper, who's running in P5, followed by Aussie, who's in sixth after his very slow start off of the line. Didn't affect him too much there. Nick running in P10. And Doris Deers just had a moment off the line. What has happened to him? He's got wheel issues. Must be wheel issues surely for Doris Deer. He's out of the race on lap one. What a catastrophic start to this second race here for Doris Deer, as John Boy very wide there, which might allow Cobb a bit of a run.
Mike's slow. Mike's slow.
What's happened to Mike?
He's so slow.
He's backed out of it massively here. Mike down to the back. What is going on here tonight? Very strange start.
Someone's messed with his car. Some sabotages, I thought.
It must be, because I can't imagine why Mike is having such a bad night tonight. He's just been nowhere all night in terms of pace. I mean, what was he, P3 for this qualifying, but over a second shy of John Boy. John Boy's had a dodgy start to this race and is running in P2. Can he find a way past Craig? Because obviously we know the Ginetta not very quick in a straight line, but with Craig also being in the Ginetta, yeah.
And when you're racing about with other Ginettas, it becomes all about what downforce profile you're running.
Well, one car that I think, on paper would really struggle, and it has turned out to be the case, is the KTM.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously going to struggle down the straights, but then in the corners it's not really got any saving grace, has it?
No, it really doesn't. It's a very strange. It is very strange. Who's that going? Two of them going into the pits.
Mike in the pits.
And Mike.
Yeah, Mike and Mafford both in the pits at the end of the first lap. But John Boy's in the lead. So what's happened to Craig? Craig's dropped down to fourth place.
Oh.
So Craig must have made a mistake going to the first sector here. He's dropped 3 places. He's now 3 seconds off for the lead. What has gone on there with Craig? What a shame.
Let's see if I can get something on the live action replay. Looks like Craig's been in the lead for. Yeah, it looks like John might have got the lead coming into the turn one. That or Craig has just got overconfident on the accelerator. Yeah, he did. He got that already touched the afterturf from the outside.
So a spin going through turn one there for Craig has cost him massively here, as he's now coming under pressure from Aussie. But Cobb is sticking to the back of John Boy. John Boy's not being given a walkover here in this race. He's still got pressure from behind, and Cobb hopefully can take the fight to him here, because Cobb's not had the night so far at all. Was pretty anonymous in the first race, and But he's got himself in the slipstream at the moment, and obviously he's keeping up with John Boy for the time being. So fingers crossed we can see a bit of a race here as they come over the line to complete lap 2. Let's see what the lap times are. 1:47s for the leaders at the moment. John Boy, we know in qualifying can do mid 1:45s, but obviously the race is a different story.
Faster.
Yeah, and that could be crucial here for him. Part Pooper running in third place, our race 1 winner. Potentially chasing a second win in the space of 2 races here tonight. What a night it'd be for him if he can get 2 wins on the board, and he's not very far off at the moment. That's John Boy very wide there onto the curb going out of turn 2. That would have cost him a few tenths and given Cobb a little bit more confidence and impetus here on the back of him. This race is slightly more lively than what we saw in the first race, Ian.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Because we still have quite a lot of the pack together. We still have a lot of cars together, and it's just not it's just there's a lot more action compared to the first race. Where right now we have things to watch, we have things to commentate on. Right, whereas with the last one, it was just pretty much everyone was just basically doing lap times.
I think maybe with the reverse grid, although it's supposed to bunch the pack up and create close racing, I think sometimes it can have the opposite effect. If you have people dropping it or incidents and stuff, it can have the opposite effect from what it's intended to do. It can just break everybody up. Whereas when you've got drivers who are of representative pace in their correct positions, you've got people, I think there's less propensity for mistakes to happen because everybody's battling sort of in their own realm of ability, and so as such you don't get people panicking or getting ahead of themselves or trying to keep up with drivers who they realistically cannot compete with.
Here's 2 fun facts for you. Fuji actually has one of the longest front straights in motorsport of a total distance of 1.4 kilometers.
You just looked that up. I just heard you tapping on the computer.
No, I was messaging someone.
I thought you were just looking that up. I'd be impressed if you just looked that up.
But it is also a grade 1 as a grade 1 licensed track.
It can host F1.
Yeah, it could host F1, but I have a feeling with all the elevation changes, it could potentially. That's why it might not. Might not do it.
I actually know this. This is actually my own knowledge. I haven't researched this, but Fuji did actually host the Japanese Grand Prix in 07 and 08 when Suzuka was being done up, because Suzuka was having improvements made to it. It wasn't used during those seasons, and Fuji hosted the Japanese Grand Prix in both of those seasons. And Hamilton won in 07 in the rain, and then in 08 it was Alonso, I want to say, I believe.
I really couldn't tell you. But
yeah, I think it was.
What do you think is the current F1 lap record around Fuji?
I know it's in the I think it's about a 1 minute. I think it's about a 1 minute 20.
Oh, you're close. It's a 1 minute 18.4.
Ah, I mean, I was going by the same sort of logic as around Monza, because Monza is about a 1 minute 20 in an F1 car, but in a GT3 car on Project Cars 2, it's about a 145, 146 if you're quick. If you're average, probably about a 147. So, but then again, GT4s, I suppose Monza's a high-speed track where the difference between an F1 car and a GT3 car would be probably a lot bigger. So, therefore, a GT4 car you would imagine would be a lot closer relative. I mean, that was my quick calculations there. That was the logic that I was using, but obviously at quite a high pace. So
yeah,
maybe
this track has undertaken a lot of layout changes.
Saying that, I think it's unchanged from 2008.
No, actually.
No, it's so basically what it is. There's the GT.
2005.
You got the GT layout. Yeah, unchanged from 2008. Yeah.
No, 5.
Yeah, so it's the same as it was in 2008, mate.
Yeah, but the last configuration update was in 2005. To work that 2005 to date is the current. That's
why I'm saying it's the same as it was in 2008.
Yeah, but oh my God, you're not getting what I'm saying, man.
No, but you're not getting what I'm saying. Sorry, it's quite funny. We have these little tiffs usually off of stream, but now we've actually, it's now getting to the point where we're now having them whilst we're live as well. Sorry, but yeah. No, I get what you're saying, 100%. What I was saying is that it's the same layout that it was when F1 was racing here.
Yeah.
But I know there are two different layouts of Fuji. There's the GT layout, and there is the Formula layout, which is what they obviously do in Super Formula.
Yeah.
But this isn't actually the... Oh, so John Boy goes deep into turn one, and Cobb's there. It's going to get underneath him. Is he? No, he can't quite do it. John Boy keeps the momentum around the outside, but Cobb is going to be smelling blood at this point. You can see Cobb on the outside. John Boy's going to have to take a tight line here through turn two. Cobb might be fancying a bit of a cutback here. John Boy, though, gets it parked beautifully there. Perfectly times his turn in, and it's going to hold on coming through this long right-hander. But that was a hairy moment there for John Boy, and Cobb is really putting the pressure on him here. You can see he's sensing that John Boy now has got a mistake in him, and he's not going to let up from here to the flag. As John Boy, a bit of a slide there going through that left-hander, but just holds on to it. But now he's got Cobb and Park Hooper right on the back of him here. 0.4 of a second separating the top three. Cobb looking to the outside now, coming down the hill towards the chicane. John Boy there hugging the inside line, taking a tight line there as he's having to lose a little bit of speed. Cobb there trying to go around the outside of the chicane, but John Boy is going to hold the inside line and he's just going to cling onto it. No, bit of contact there between them. John Boy, for the time being, survives there, but Cobb is really getting on with this and putting John Boy under the cosh here. John Boy much slower than his personal best on this lap. That just goes to show how much pressure he is under at this point.
Yeah, he knows that if he doesn't give it all, give this race his all, he is not going to be able to take that first place or at least get anywhere near it.
What I was saying before, obviously that battle started to commence, was that the GT layout doesn't actually have the chicane. So where they obviously have that, you know, where that chicane is in the middle sector, it's actually a fast right-hander in the GT layout. So the GT
that
cars...
turn is actually Dunlop.
Yeah, it is. But it's a fast right-hander where you hardly even need to brake. Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you've got turn one. There's a few corners in this track that don't actually have names, but turn 3 is called Coca-Cola. Then turn 4 and 5 is called 100R. Turn 6 is Hairpin. Turn 9 is 300R. Turn 10 is Dunlop. I believe turn 15 is called Nets, and the 16th and last corner is called Panasonic.
Do you know what? I knew some of that, but I didn't know all of that. I've learned a few things there. I think I knew some of this, and then I think in past commentaries where I used to maybe do a bit more research before I commentated, I think I did know that, and since I've forgotten. So that's knowledge that's kind of refreshed. Something that it was there somewhere, but obviously not particularly prevalent in my head. But you see, I feel like you've just told me something I already knew, but kind of forgot.
Yeah, because for I believe it was the 60s, I believe it was, when the Fuji first opened. They actually were going to use it as a NASCAR track. So that there was a lot of there was going to be a Japanese NASCAR series. So there was, but then I don't know if they actually managed to...
Imogoy for the lead. We've got Cobb all over the back of John Boy here down the start finish straight. He got a much better drive coming out of the final corner, and you can see Ginetta versus Ginetta power. Obviously there's not much of an advantage, but Cobb with the slipstream has managed to really get that run, and down the inside he's going to look into turn one. John Boy actually getting a slightly better run, or getting a slightly better speed. I think he's got lower downforce than Cobb. Cobb though looking to try and get the move done through turn one, and he makes that happen there. John Boy wide there out of turn one, got all over the curb there. Cobb now takes the lead on the final lap of the race. That pressure that Cobb has been putting on John Boy has now finally paid off here. Park Hooper on the back of these guys as well. He could be sensing a second win. Obviously he took the first race of the night here, but Cobb at the right time seems to have hit the front, as Craig and Ozzy still battered it out over fourth place, and Ozzy looking underneath Craig there, going through the is that 100R, that one, or is it the next one?
Yeah, that's 100R.
See, I'm learning now. All this knowledge is coming back to me. But Park Hooper looking to try and get a bit of a run here on John Boy as they come through this flat out sequence down towards the chicane. Is he going to have a look into Dunlop? He's going to think about it, but surely he's too far back there. It's not going to happen there for Park Pooper. There's John Boy. Look at the inside of Cobb. Oh, he went very late on the brakes there. He almost, it looked like he was thinking about making a move. He came from an absolute mile back. That was never going to happen in a million years, but you might as well dream of it, but it's not going to happen. Oh no, it's been a crash between Ozzy and Craig. Those two have come together. They're going through Dunlop. But back to the leaders here as they come through Nets, I want to say.
No, yeah, that's Nets, and then we're coming through Panasonic.
Here we go then. Cobb has taken the lead at the start of the final lap, and it's going to be the race victory for Cobb in this middle race. But John Boy coming under increasing pressure from Park Pooper here. Can Park Pooper get in before the line? I think he's going to get there just a little bit too late, but it is going to be Cobb who's going to take the second win of the night. And obviously didn't have a great first race, was very innocuous for most of it, but in this one he's going to right the wrongs of that one, and Cobb there over the line to take the victory here in race 2. John Boy second, Park Pooper completes the podium in third place. Bit of a gap back to Ozzy, who's going to come over to take fourth ahead of Craig, who comes over to take P5. These guys quite a long way clear of Smokey in the end. Smokey's going to finish this one in sixth place, and he's just a couple of seconds clear of Pot the Brown, who's going to finish this one in seventh. Mike though, another race where he has been nowhere. Weirdly enough though, if you look at the timings, Ian, Mike in the 47s in this race. So he's had pace.
He has had the pace, but he's just not showed it where it needed to be, you know, it needed to be deployed.
No, not at all. So that is a real head scratcher there for him. Totally zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn something. You always learn a little bit with us. The thing is with us is we don't really know much, but we have this very we're quite good at putting on this illusion that we know what we're talking about. So obviously if you use big words and you speak like you know what you're talking about, then quite often you can put across the illusion that you're quite smart. And
well, you know, this is going to be my new thing. Every race, I'm going to pull up fun facts on the track that we're racing at.
Do you know what we need to do? When I've eventually got a computer that I can run OBS on, we need to have like this section where Ian just introduces facts about the track, and on the screen will be like a load of facts about the track with a map or something, and it will just be like a section. We'll pre-record it, and I'll just get Ian to just ramble through loads of interesting facts about the track.
I've actually got
I'll wait for the next one, guys. But anyway, we'll be back for the final race of the night in about 5 minutes, so check it out on Discord, and we will be live very